Welcome to Firewood, fella. So today we're going to be working on hopefully trying to finish up splitting up these maple rounds that I cut before the processor even showed up back in October, and it's now December. So they've been sitting split, ready to go for a couple months. They're starting to crack open a little bit, but we're going to get this stuff split, thrown in the tractor bucket, and then hauled away over to the racks where we're going to be ending up stacking them. So we'll see how much we can get done in a couple hours. Let's get at it. Got about 2.5 face cords done today, almost a full cord in about 2.5 hours, maybe a little less than that actually, because we had to go get fuel and everything like that earlier. A lot of maple, some birch mixed in. I think there was one like oriental tree or something like that that's in there. It looks like cherry, but I have no idea. This all came from a tree service, and then I've been cutting up some of the limb wood from the maple tree in the front yard that we had taken down back in May, and that's been sitting in log form since May. And I mean, even the pieces that are, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 inches in diameter, they're still, it's stuff is already dry. It's amazing how it can just sit for a couple months even in log form, some of that limb wood, and it dries up. I mean, some of it's starting to turn a little stripy with some streaking in it. So my goal is to try and get that stuff done before the end of winter, before it starts to rot any further in the summer. Right now it's kind of just sitting and chilling right now. So, but yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing, is taking the bigger rounds, get some nice bigger pieces, and then a lot of the limb wood up on top. That way then they get a good variety in their face cord, and it's not all just limb wood or nice big pieces. You know, you gotta mix it up a little bit. Very productive day. Yeah, right around like 3 o'clock, 3:30-ish or so, the wind picked up and it's whipping right now. I don't know if you can see the trees behind me here, and the temperature dropped. It was in the low 30s, mid 30s today, but with this wind it was feels like in the 20s, but the wind's picked up and the temperature's starting to drop with the sun going down. So it got cold quick, so I'm glad we got this done. I'll show you how much left of the pile we got here too. So this is kind of the hole we've made up, and we're probably maybe a third of the way through it. I mean, there's a lot of rounds that are buried in the snow over here, and some bigger rounds over here. There's some rounds back there yet, and then we still got these massive rounds there, here. This one needs to get cut up. This one needs to get cut up. This one needs to get cut up yet. But a lot of these bigger rounds are all froze to the ground right now. But we'll get to them here. It's supposed to warm up here for a couple days, right around Christmas here. I want to say total, with what we got done today, there's probably over 3 cords of wood here, especially in these bigger rounds here. And I got to make a decision of either rip them in half or see if the brute force can lift it up and brute force its way through one of those big rounds. We'll see what I decide to do yet. Still got a couple more here yet of some bigger rounds, and this is some of the limb wood I've been cutting off in the pile. So we got enough racks open here. We got another rack here, and then another full cord there, so we can get another 5 face cords of wood in here yet before we're filled up with the mixed hardwood, which I'm hoping will be enough to hold all that maple we got here and fill all this in, so I get really far ahead on my mixed hardwood for the camping season. Figure I'd get you guys a nice picture of the sunset here for a little bit, but I'm gonna call it a day. Firewood fella, logging off.